The number 666 often scares the shit out of people due to its associations with the supernatural or ominous events. It's commonly referred to as the number of the beast in the Christian Bible's Book of Revelation. This association has spawned numerous urban legends and real-life stories that play on the theme of 666 as an emblem of evil. The following stories are all true. Oh, and by the way, please hit that like button, unless you want the devil to rip out your soul tonight when you're sleeping. Highway 666 has now been renamed, but the original road still exists. You might just not know you're on it. Once known as Highway 666, the Devil's Highway stretches through the desolate landscapes of the American Southwest, a road marked by its notorious reputation for danger. This ominous highway, winding through parts of Utah, Colorado, and New Mexico, was the setting for a disproportionate number of fatal accidents and unexplained phenomena. Highway 666 was one of many side roads or smaller routes that connected to the famous U.S. Route 66. It was simply the 666th route created in that network. The number 666 was assigned based on the numbering system for highways. Drivers reported eerie sightings along the desolate stretches. Ghostly hitchhikers who vanished into thin air. Strange apparitions of demonic creatures. And vehicles that seemed to move of their own accord. During the late 1990s and early 2000s, a 70-mile stretch of the highway in New Mexico saw a disturbing frequency of fatal crashes and collisions. Between 1999 and 2002 alone, this section experienced 38 fatalities and more than 200 injuries, with many of these incidents involving head-on collisions in large commercial trucks. The stories that circulated among drivers painted a terrifying picture. Truck drivers swore they saw a phantom semi-truck appearing suddenly, chasing vehicles at dangerously high speeds, forcing them off the road before vanishing without a trace. Many who narrowly escaped these encounters reported feeling a deep sense of dread as the truck tailgated them at breakneck speeds. When they reached a populated area or a rest stop, the truck would simply disappear, leaving them to wonder if the experience was real or some kind of mirage brought on by the heat of the desert. Another eerie legend that crept along this road was the tale of the vanishing hitchhiker. Many drivers reported picking up a stranded traveler, often described as a distressed young woman. She would sit quietly in the passenger seat for a few miles, only to vanish when the driver reached a particular stretch of the highway. The supernatural unease surrounding Highway 666 intensified with sightings of shadowy figures and so-called hellhounds. Some drivers claimed to have seen glowing-eyed creatures running alongside their vehicles, which locals connected to Navajo folklore. According to Native American legends, the region is home to skinwalkers, powerful witches who can transform into animals to do harm. Beyond its supernatural stories, the road holds a tragic reality. In 2001, a devastating event occurred in the desolate region bordering Highway 666. A group of 26 Mexican migrants attempting to cross the U.S.-Mexico border through southern Arizona became lost. With temperatures soaring, they quickly became dehydrated and disoriented in the unforgiving desert. 14 of them perished, their bodies discovered days later. In 2003, the government stepped in, citing the unsettling number, its high accident rate, and local fears. They renamed it U.S. Route 491 in hopes that shedding the Devil's Highway name would also dispel its dark legacy. The highway underwent extensive improvements, widening the road to 4 lanes in several areas to accommodate traffic better and reduce accidents. Since these upgrades, the number of fatalities has reportedly decreased. But they still do happen. So, picture this. It's the early 1980s, and Proctor Gamble, the massive corporation behind household names like Tide, Crest, and Pampers, is suddenly under fire. For more than a century, they've used this old-fashioned logo, a simple circular design featuring a bearded man in the moon surrounded by 13 stars. To most people, it looks harmless, a bit quirky, maybe even nostalgic. But then, seemingly out of nowhere, whispers start spreading that the logo isn't so innocent after all. The rumor grows, catching on like wildfire. People claim that if you look closely at the Moon Man's beard, you'll see something sinister. 3 curls, but if you squint, they look suspiciously like 3 sixes. Suddenly, what was once an innocent face on a cleaning product becomes a symbol of something dark, something twisted. All it takes is a spark, and soon enough, this harmless logo is rumored to be a direct link to Satan himself. The gossip doesn't stop there. It escalates. Some versions of the story claim that the company's president went on national TV, confessing to ties with the Church of Satan and pledging profits to dark forces. This alleged confession was entirely made up. It never happened, but by then it didn't matter. People across the country were convinced that Proctor Gamble was in league with something sinister. The rumors spiral out of control, and soon people aren't just talking. They're acting. Churches across the United States begin advising their congregations to boycott Proctor Gamble products. Calls pour into the company's customer service lines, demanding explanations and denouncing the supposed devil worship. It's no longer just a rumor. It's a full-blown conspiracy theory. And as with any conspiracy, once people start believing, it becomes almost impossible to change their minds. Proctor Gamble tries to assure the public, repeatedly denying any connection to Satanism, but the story has already taken on a life of its own. This situation would become more than just bad PR. Proctor Gamble faced real financial loss, and it quickly became clear that this wasn't going away on its own. They were being canceled big time and decided to fight back, taking the battle to the courts. In 1995, they file a lawsuit against Amway, a competing company whose distributors were reportedly spreading the rumor to hurt P&G's reputation. Years of legal battles ensued as the company fought to clear its name. The case finally reached a conclusion in 2007, with a court awarding Procter & Gamble $19.25 million in damages from former Amway distributors who had helped fuel the conspiracy. But by then, the damage had been done. The original logo had long since been retired, redesigned in an attempt to put the past behind them. In the end, Procter & Gamble's ordeal became a cautionary tale. It's a reminder that even when the facts are simple, people are sometimes ready to believe anything, especially if it gives them a reason to be afraid. Imagine a quiet little town nestled in the swamps and pines of Louisiana, the kind of place where everybody knows everybody, and life moves at a slower pace. This town, Reeves, is small and unassuming, but it's got one unusual trait that makes the locals uneasy. See, Reeves has a very special area code, and for years, folks have tried to laugh it off, but something about that number feels wrong, as if it's marking the town for something sinister. People start to notice strange things. Letters that get lost, strange charges appearing on their accounts, even delivery delays that no one seems to be able to explain. A few locals report hearing odd, static-laden whispers on their phones, as if some signal is coming through their lines. But of course, when they tell people, they're just laughed off, told it's all in their heads. And then, things get weirder. A family that moves into town reports that their house alarm seems to go off at exactly 6:66 in the morning, which, if you do the math, is actually 7:06. A strange coincidence, maybe, but no one can figure out why the alarm does it, even after they replace the system. Then, as word gets out, others in the town start checking their clocks, and some claim they see the same thing, 7:06 a.m., blinking or glitching. It feels like an invitation to something they can't quite see, something that wants in. By the late 90s, Reeves's creepy reputation is growing. They try to change the prefix to another number, but aren't allowed. Then strange rumors start circulating. Some people claim to see shadowy figures lingering around town, and others say their clocks and watches go haywire, skipping seconds or freezing entirely when they're near Reeves. A pastor even gives a fiery sermon, warning the town that the number of the beast is no joke, and that maybe, just maybe, something inhuman is lurking behind the town's peaceful exterior. In 2002, after decades of uneasy laughter and half-believed stories, the townspeople can't take it anymore. They petition to have their number changed. And finally, after 4 failed attempts, they succeed. And maybe it works. But some say the number change didn't erase the eerie feeling that had settled over Reeves. Even today, Visitors sometimes claim to experience strange disturbances as they drive through town. Clocks in their cars resetting, cell signals vanishing, strange shadows that don't seem to come from anywhere. Personally, I would love to have the number 666 for my phone number. But unfortunately, it's no longer an option. How about you? Let me know in the comments.